Okay, so after quite a bit of back and forth on the internet researching it, I found exactly this issue being raised in one of the forums about Delkevics and the fact that they do mount on this side of the hanger. One chap had come up with a solution whereby, I think he must have worked for an engineering company, because he was talking about having something milled and having a bracket made to fit a dog leg round the back of the bracket, round the back of the hanger. There was also chatter in one of the other forums I saw about Higg speed, or high speed is it? I'm not too sure. Another brand of expansion pipe, and they have exactly the same issue with the bracket mounting on this side of the hanger. So I'm going to live with it. It's fine. Yeah, you know, I know it would be better if it did go up the back of the hanger, but I really like the pipes. I think they sound great, so I can live with that. So anyway, let's have a look at the clutch. Right, okay, so before I drop the oil and coolant again and have this side off to have a look, see if we can spot anything amiss in there, having read through a lot of the comments, one of them was, well, there was a few of them about the routing for the clutch cable, and I'm going to bob the tank off and we're just going to try rerouting the clutch cable first, just to see if it makes any difference. I've also got a genuine Yamaha clutch cable, so I'm going to swap that over just to rule out the simple stuff first, and then we'll get the side off. I mean, I really appreciate the comments, I do. There was one which was saying, oh, it's the discs. It's definitely the discs. Well, yeah, I don't know if it said definitely, but it's the discs. And I should check how many there are. Well, the right amount went in. Well, the same amount went in as came out. I've got the old discs, so I'll be if it comes to having to pull them out again, I'm going to compare them really, look at them closely side by side to see if I can spot any difference at all. Couple of other comments saying, well, was it slipping before? Well, I don't know if you saw it. The reason I did this was because of the video previously when I took it out for a test ride, and it hit the power band and it just woof, the revs are just bang straight up, and a lot of people said that clutch is slipping badly. That's why I've been looking at the clutch. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have taken it apart, wouldn't have replaced the plates, etc. So we'll do the easy stuff first, or the quick stuff first, which is we'll just get this Yambits cable off, put this cable on, have a look at the routing of the cable. It did follow the exact same path as the one that came off, but we'll have a look at that first. Okay. So interestingly, there was quite a bit of difference in the clutch cable, as I'm sure you could see, but the most noticeable difference is I've rerouted it. I've taken quite a bit of time just making sure that it's routed right and it's not catching anywhere, and it's nice and smooth. The interesting thing was the adjuster pin that you have to wind out here. I had to wind it all the way out before I could get the clutch the casing on, because it was pressing on it already. So I'm hoping now that when I adjust this, it's touching there now, and that's a lot further out than it was before. So if I just go back quarter turn, so if I nip that up now, we should be ready for that feels a good clutch. So let's get the tank on, reconnect the fuel lines and give it a go. So that's a definite no. It hasn't worked at all. The clutch adjustment is bang on. The cable's right, got a little bit of free play at the top. Maybe just do a little bit more free play. But yeah, I can let the clutch out and put my feet on the floor, and the bike is slightly trying to pull away. So it's back to the other side, and drain the oil, drain the coolant, and get it all stripped down again. Great. Right then, I'm pretty certain I found the problem. One tick. So, putting the clutch back together again. Examining the clutch first, as you could see, the Yambit springs are smaller than the springs that I took off. Now, we've got about 34 mil for the Yambit springs. I checked them all. They're all sort of coming in. They're not that, the tolerance is a bit off. So this one's 34.7, 34.5 maybe. Yeah, it's all about the same. But the ones that came off the bike were these, and they've got like a yellow paint on them, so I don't know if that, maybe somebody will go, oh yeah, that means they're EBC or something like that, I don't know, anyway, but they're definitely a different sort of spring. And they're nearly 36 mil. And then, anyway, so I thought, right, okay, I know it means stripping it down again if it didn't work, but I was going to build it back up with the new plates and use the old springs and see if that was a cure. But then put in the pressure plate back in and turned it over and noticed, I don't know how well you can see that, but some of these are broken. See, that's broken off completely on the end there, that is. So you've got 1, 2, 3 that are broken. So that's got to be having some sort of, impact on it. Now, I bet there's going to be those amongst you who go, oh yeah, you've over-tightened them, you have, you dick. And I haven't. I've got a right fancy digital torque wrench, and I did them to £7 foot, which is what it says they needed to be in the book. So I haven't over-tightened them. I must have just missed it when I put them out, because when you take it off, it wasn't like these bits fell out. So when I've put it back on, it's like I say, I've made sure I've taken care to line the arrows up on the pressure plate with the basket itself, so I knew that this was on right, but I just didn't clock that these were broken. So I'm gonna have to go now and see if I can find a genuine pressure plate to replace it. So okay, I'll see you when we have the parts. So I scoured the internet and eBay came up trumps yet again, and I managed to find a brand new old stock pressure plate, and it's brand new and it's genuine, it's stamped in all the right places, so hopefully that's going to be good. I also thought, because obviously I had to wait for that for a few days to come, and I thought, right, okay, well we'll measure some stuff up and just make sure everything is right and within tolerances. So I measured, I've got a digital calipers, and the springs that I took out are bigger than the springs that came off Yambits. So these are quite a bit, I mean, I'm not talking a great deal, but just to give you an idea, just zero that. If I measure the ones that I took out of the bike, we've got 35.6, try it again actually, yeah, 35.6, 35.5, and I measure them to the Yambits replacement, and we've got 32.8. Well, that one actually, if I move it around a bit, 33.9. So they are a little bit, and I suppose it is all down to how much they compress when when the clutch mechanism is activated. But is that going to make a difference? So anyway, I thought, right, I'm not stripping this down again, because I've had to order, I mean, I could, I suppose, go away with the oil again, but I didn't want to, just in case it's contaminated in any way. So I've bought more Silcoline light gear oil, which is what I took out of it, and I've had to order some more coolant as well. Again, because I just don't want to put any crap back in the system. So I thought I'll also order a set of steel plates just to make sure these are okay. I've measured these compared to the thickness of these, and they're all right. But I suppose, is that just regular wear, you would say, on there? You know, obviously these are very new and very shiny and what have you. Yam bits again, so I'm just hoping they're going to be a bit better than the clutch cable was. So we're going to put them in. So I've also ordered, just to be on the safe side, a set of genuine Yamaha clutch springs, and they should have been here midweek and they haven't turned up. At the moment the clutch plates are soaking in oil along with that seal, ready for reinstallation. But it's like I say, these springs are holding it up. I mean, I'm really tempted to go with the biggest springs that came out of the bike, but it's like I say, I don't want to risk having to strip it all down again, so we'll wait. Anyway, I don't want to, you know, too much waffle, but the other update is about the exhausts, and I've spoken to Delkevic about it, and I also did some research on the internet, and the mounts will not go up the inside of the rear hangers. They just won't. They won't go up. I've had the exhausts off again and tried matching them up, and they won't go. The exhaust hits the swing arm. It puts it at the wrong angle for the silencer end can, which is almost pushing it into the wheel, for Christ's sake. So it's definitely, they're definitely not made to go up the inside. Now, I did have a problem with one of the end cans. It got a bit of blistering on the chrome. I'll put a photo somewhere here so you can see it. And it was just not very neat. I mean, I wasn't happy with it. You know, they're 500 quid exhaust, and you know, it should have been better. Anyway, so I got in touch with them, and they were very good. They were like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll swap it over for you. And I've been over to pick it up this morning, and I have, and the one they've given me, the replacement, is great. It looks just as good as the other side, so that's back on the bike now. But I mentioned to the chap there about this mounting bracket, and he's like, well, that's not right, they should go where they're supposed to go. I said, look mate, there's no way they're going up the inside of the hanger. They're just not, they won't. Anyway, so Dave must be one of the owners of Delkevic, or D&K Motorcycles. I guess it's Dave, isn't it? Anyway, so he said he'll speak to Dave about it, and they'll follow up on that. Morning. Okay, so another day. The springs have arrived. Let's check them against what we took out of the bike and what we got off Yambits. So I'm glad we waited for the genuine ones to arrive. We're going to go with those. So let's start getting built back up. Oh yeah. Test ride time, I think. that's excellent news. The clutch seems to be sorted now. Not sure if it was one single component that would failed or was failing. You know, maybe the friction plates were worn down quite a lot. I'm not sure, but you know, when I measured them, they looked all right and they looked comparable to the new ones. So, not sure about that. But it's had the friction plates, the steel plates, new pressure plates. Obviously, that broke, and the genuine Yamaha springs have gone in. So everything feels good. It feels really nice on the lever. I did the short road test, then tweaked things a bit, and then a little bit of a longer road test. But yeah, you know, the certainly good power band felt a lot different than it did before when the clutch was slipping. But you know what? Classic bikes, so that's just the gift that keeps on giving, aren't they? And I pointed it out in the road test there. The first 5-6 miles it went really well. Certainly when I, you know, really gave it some, it was whacking right up, you know, up to 10,000 RPM, and felt really smooth. Lots of good power delivery, but there was quite a lot of slow in between, you know, because the traffic was a little heavier on the way out. But then coming back, it was the traffic was lighter and it was a faster road, so I was able to keep the revs up a bit more. But then it was like it was running out of fuel almost, and it was only after, if you really gave it the beans, and I pointed it out on the video, if you gave it the beans, you know that it was struggling. It wasn't cutting out, but it's like it dropped almost to one cylinder, and I couldn't get it up past 4,500 RPM, and cars started bunching up behind me, so I pulled over and tried popping it into reserve to see if that was, you know, maybe it's because it felt like fuel starvation. Gave it a few revs up as I stopped, and then came back, and it was fine until I was behind this van and I dropped back, and the revs were up 6,000, 6,500, and I dropped back sufficiently so I could give it the beans again to see if whatever this problem had cleared. And as soon as it, you know, the power delivery super smooth again, straight up there, but then same again, fuel starvation. So we're going to have to start looking for that fault now. However, I suppose it could be a jetting issue. I mean, I know you're not supposed to have to rejet with these Delkevic exhausts, but I don't know what jets were in or are in the carbs now. Somebody's obviously rebuilt the engine, as I keep saying, and I don't know if any work had been done to the carbs. So I think we'll probably have to take them off and see what size mains we've got in there, and maybe up them a bit. I don't know. Is that a classic wrong size jet sort of symptom, do you think? Let's start focusing on that problem, and drop me some comments below, and next time we'll start looking at that. But hey, other than that, I'm really pleased. It went really well. The pipes sound great. I think they crackle lovely. It reminds me of the old All Speeds from way back when, and yeah, generally really pleased. So as I say, it's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it, classic bikes? So we'll have to resolve that problem now. It's just a good job that my Transalp is as reliable as it is, so I've always got that as my daily ride when needed. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for the comments about the clutch. We got there in the end, and on to the fuel problem. Okay, thank you. See you next time. Bye.